So, techniques for selecting appropriate data sources. Unang-una, define objectives. The second one is evaluate data availability. Third one is consider data quality and match scale and resolution. Explore data compatibility. When we say define objectives, clearly define the objectives and scope of the map to identify relevant data sources. For example, gumagawa ka ng CLOOP. Siyempre, ang source mo ng data dapat is yung talagang gumagawa ng CLOOP. For example, yung Department of House Settlements and 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 Urban Development, di ba? Or kung gusto mo naman about geoscience, about sa mga mountains, punta ka ng MGB, Mines and Geoscience Bureau, di ba? Kung gusto mo naman nung agricultural area mo, irrigation mo, punta ka ng NAMRIA, National Mapping Authority, ba, NAMRIA. Then, second one is evaluate data availability. Assess the availability and accessibility of existing datasets, considering factors such as coverage, resolution, and currency. So, dapat, yung available data mo naman is bago. Diba? Consider mo rin yung coverage niya, yung resolution niya. Baka naman yung mapa pa nila is yung 1990s pa na, nakadrawing pa, in-upload lang sa internet, no? Make sure na dapat sana yung resolution niya mataas para makita natin yung coverage niya, di ba? Third one is consider data quality. When we say data quality, dapat reliable yung inyong data sources. Dapat accurate siya, kumpleto siya, consistent siya. Okay? Evaluate the quality and reliability of potential data sources, including accuracy, completeness, and consistency. Okay? So, dito sa data quality natin, usually naman, ang mga mapping authority natin is nag-upload yun every 3 years, every 5 years. So, for example, 2024 ngayon, I think, ang pinakalinis na source mo ng data kung gagamit ka ng NAMRIA is 2020. Yan. So, bago pa. So, I think every 5 years ang NAMRIA sa pagkuha ng tawag dito, bagong data or maps. Match scale and resolution. Select data sources that match the scale and resolution of the thematic map to ensure compatibility and accuracy. So, dito naman, kapag kasi gumawa or nag-project si NAMRIA is naka-scale siya. For example, ang kuha niya kasi ng mapa is per province and naka-tile siya. So, sometimes dalawang tile ang kailangan mong gamitin para makuha mo lang yung Palayan City or other localities. The fifth one is explore data compatibility. Ensure compatibility between different data sources in terms of projection, coordinate system, and data format to facilitate integration and analysis. Dito naman, when we say compatibility, unang-una dapat yung reference system mo or yung projection mo is parehas nga compatible. For example, if you are using the reference system of Google, make sure that you are also using, for example, yung base map mo is Google, no, yung reference system niya is WGS or ESGS. Dapat yung source mo ng data is same lang din ng coordinate system kasi pagka hindi compatible yan, either hindi yan mag-overlay or malayo yung distance. If you still remember, 'di ba, pagka nagmapa kayo using my trucks, minsan tumatalon yan yung trucks niyo, for example. Imbes na sa kalsada ka dumaan ka sa mga sa ilog. So hindi compatible. Una-una kasi sa projection nga baka magkaiba. Instead na ang base map mo is base map A, pero ang ginamit mong data source is base map B, hindi talaga overlay yan. Kahit anong gawin mo, hindi magmamatch yan. So, make sure that compatible pa rin yung mga data na ginagamit mo. So, those are the techniques for selecting appropriate data sources. You have to define the objectives, evaluate the availability of the data, consider the quality of your data, match the scale and resolution, and explore data compatibility. Okay? So ito naman, importance of using reliable and up-to-date data or updated data. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Importance of using updated data. Accuracy, validity, credibility, decision-making, relevance, avoid bias, stakeholder confidence, and long-term planning. When we say accuracy, reliable data ensures the accuracy of thematic maps, providing a trustworthy representation of geographic phenomena. So kung yung data mo is accurate, then you can project uh, your map accordingly or accurately. For example, no, ang source mo ng map is yung CLSU, and then they have this flood map. No? You can easily project na after 10 years using this map, no? Using their source, their data. After 5 years, ito palang flood area mo is kakainin na tong lupa mo. So you can just easily provide phenomena. Next one is validity. Up-to-date data enhances the validity of thematic maps by reflecting current spatial conditions and trends accurately. So you can easily validate kung tama ba itong nangyayari na to. For example, gumamit ka ng mapa, ng base map 10 years ago. Ginamit mo ito ngayon 2023. So, yung span ng 10 years na yon, syempre may mga improvement na yan. So, pag tinignan mo yung mapa, when you validated it, pag vinalidate mo siya, hahanapin mo yung mga buildings. Bakit wala yung building na ganito sa mapa na to? Kasi, ang ginamit mong source is 2013 pa. So, yung mapa na ginagamit mo, hindi na siya reliable, hindi siya updated, and then, hindi ka makapag-provide ng trend, hindi ka makapag-provide ng pattern for the next years pa. Kahit sa mga, ang pinaka-latest mo siguro is 3 years or 4 years, mas okay pang gamitin nyo kaysa sa 10 years na last na mapa. Diba? The third one is credibility. Using reliable and up-to-date data enhances the credibility of the maps, instilling trust in the information presented. So, kung updated yung mapa mo, credible din yung magiging output mo. Why? Katulad sinabi ko sa kanina, ba't wala yung building na ganito? Ang bago na is meron ng building. So, sabihin, ang pagtinignan ng map ng user yan, paano kung mapagkakatiwalaan yung mapa na yan? Wala pa nga dyan sa mapa na yan yung bahay namin, nakatayo na. O, di ba? So, hindi mo masasabi na i-rescue mo kami kung wala dyan yung mapa namin. Di ba? So, make sure that your map is credible by using updated data. Okay? Decision making. Reliable data supports informed decision-making process by providing a solid foundation for analysis and interpretation. Again, sa flood map natin, for example, nagtayo ng bahay si user mo or si tao mo dun sa flood hazard map and hindi naman nakaproject doon. Hindi nakaproject sa mapa mo yung bahay nila. Ibig sabihin ba nun, hindi mo sila rescuehin? Kung ang basis mo is yung mapa mo, di ba? So, no, make sure that yung gagamitin mong mapa is updated palagi para na sa ganun. Nandun na pala yung bahay mo, nakita ko sa mapa, nandun yung bahay mo. During flood, kayo una namin rescuehin, ha? So, mga ganung idea ba? 5 is relevance. Up-to-date data ensures the relevance of thematic maps to current issues. Okay? And aside from that, up-to-date data ensures the relevance of thematic maps to ensure to challenges, increasing their utility and effectiveness. Number 6, avoid bias. When you say avoid bias, using reliable data helps avoid bias or inaccuracies in thematic maps, ensuring impartial and objective representation of spatial phenomena. So, pinakamagandang example dyan is yung flood map. Okay? Kung nasa DPWH ka, gagawa ka ng mapa. Ang gagamitin mong mapa is yung 10 years ago. Pwede mong i-project na ganito. Yung Palayan City, yung flood map na yan is, tingin ko, hindi pa yan kailangan ng slope protection. Hindi pa yan kailangan ng paglalagay ng dike. Di ba? May bias ka agad eh. Kasi tignan mo itong mapa na ginawa nila. Hindi naman nakaproject dito yung flood map. Kahit sabihin pa nila na may ilog dyan, hindi ko naman makita na flood prone yan. So, may bias ka agad yung DPWH. Kasi, bakit ko pagbibigyan yung request yung dike kung hindi naman flood hazard dyan? Paano mo nasabing ganun? Unang-una, hindi ka man gumamit ng updated na mapa. Updated na base map. Kaya, it avoids bias. Kung gumamit ka ng updated na mapa, pinakita mo dyan na hanggang ngayon talagang binabahayan and flood prone yan, automatic, gagawa ng paraan ng DPWH yan to install dikes, to install slope protection sa mga landslide areas. Okay? The seventh one naman is the stakeholder confidence. When we say stakeholder confidence, stakeholders are more likely to trust and act upon thematic maps based on reliable and up-to-date data, leading to greater acceptance and implementation of findings. Yeah. Kung yung mga community mo is nasa flood-prone area, alam nila na talagang flooded ang area nila. And nakita nila sa mapa mo, in-indicate mo na flood-prone din talaga sa kanila. It is safe to say na yung confidence ng mga tao sa baba is correct. They are more likely to trust you. Sasabihin mo na, kayong i-rescue namin kasi flood-prone area kayo. In the first place, talagang flood-prone area sila. Diba? So, alam nila na, okay po, susunod po kami pag nagpatawag po kayo ng evacuation. Diba? Unlike naman sa sabihin mo na, flood-prone kami rito eh. Tapos ginawa mo mapa, ay, hindi po kayo flood-prone dyan. Diba? So, meron ka agad conflict sa inyong dalawa. Siyempre, itong community mo sa baba, ibig sabihin po, hindi nyo kami re-rescue pagka flood-prone. Ay, hindi po eh. Kasi sa mapa namin, based nung 2005, hindi naman kayo flood-prone eh. So, unahin po namin yung mga nasa bundok na landslide-prone. So, walang confidence na yung stakeholders mo. Yung mga tao mo nasasakupan. Okay? So, that's stakeholder confidence. And the last one is long-term planning. Up-to-date data enables long-term planning and forecasting by capturing spatial trends and changes over time accurately. So, sa mapping kasi, meron tayong tinatawag na, business as usual. Okay? For example, meron kang mapa, yung Palayan City. And gumawa ka ng existing land use plan. Built-up areas. When we say existing built-up areas, yun yung talagang nangyayari without your decisions, without your planning. Kusa na lang susulpot dyan yung mga commercial areas, kusa na lang susulpot dyan yung institutional areas, yung bang wala kang plano. And pagka nangyari yun, hindi mo may utilize ng maayos yung land use mo, yung area mo. Okay? So, pagka meron kang accurate data, updated map, may paplano mo ng tama yung gamit ng lupa mo. Yung gamit ng area mo. Diba? For example, mag-locate ka sa mapa mo ng commercial area. Para nang sa ganun, hindi watak-watak yung commercial area mo. Diba? For example, naglagay ka ng commercial area sa ganitong location. Unang-una, pag naglagay ka ng area doon sa ng commercial area sa gawin doon, sa ganung barangay, may consider mo dyan yung traffic. Pero, syempre, pag na-estimate mo na magkakaroon ng traffic, gagawa ka ng alternate route. At the same time, magkakaroon din ng trabaho yung mga toda mo or yung pahoda mo. Di ba? And also, when it comes to disaster, yung planning mo, you will not allow the establishment or the building or the erection of houses sa mga ganong areas. Flooded areas natin. Okay? So those are the importance of using reliable and updated data. No? Have the accuracy, validity, credibility for decision making, relevance, avoid bias, stakeholder confidence, and long-term planning. So we have here the data classification methods for thematic mapping. We have the equal intervals, the quantiles, natural breaks, standard deviation, and manual classification. So dito kasi sa mapa na to, ano ginamit ko rito? I think dito yung quantiles eh. And sometimes nagdagdag din ako ng natural breaks. Anyway, when we say equal intervals, the data is divided into equal size intervals, suitable for data with a wide range of values but may not account for outliers. Second one is quantiles, divides data into equal size groups based on percentile ranks, ensuring an equal number of observation in each group. The third one is natural breaks, identifies natural groupings in the data by minimizing within group variance and maximizing between group variance. The fourth one is standard deviation, divides data based on standard deviations from the mean, highlighting deviations from the average value. And the next one is manual classification, allows users to define custom classification breaks based on domain knowledge or specific criteria. So dito, gumamit ako ng equal intervals and quantiles. Itong mapa kasi na to is yung tawag dito, tawag dito, elevation map na tinatawag. So dito, gumawa ako ng elevation model, data elevation model na DEM, and then nag-apply ako ng contour. When we say contour, yun yung slope, yung distance ng slope mo. So dito, gumawa ako ng intervals na every 50s, every 10s, 10, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Okay? So yun, pagka yung interval na yun is between 10 to 20 yung slope niya, kulay dilaw lang. Di ba? Pagka umabot ng 20 to 50 yung slope ko, ginawa ko na siyang green. Pag umabot na ng 50 to 80 yung slope ko, ginawa ko ng red. And pag 80 to 100, ginawa ko ng tawag dito, brown. So magkaroon ako ng equal interval ng tawag dito, elevation ng aking mapa. And then I have to analyze na pagka yung palang intervals ko is umabot from 50 to 80 yung slope niya, I can easily tell you that those are tawag dito, matarik na or steep na siya. Okay? So yeah, I have as far as I'm concerned, I have used equal intervals when mapping our landslide area. So ito siya, no? Itong green to red to brown. So the other methods is depende sa inyo, but yeah, I have used here the equal intervals for data classification methods for this map. Okay. What are the importance of selecting appropriate classification methods? Una, data representation. Okay, different classification methods can portray data distributions differently, influencing how patterns and trends are perceived on the thematic map. Yeah. Kung gumamit ako dito ng natural breaks, when we say natural breaks, no, I have the capability to delineate kung saan ba yung yung mga area or groups of area na landslide prone or mountainous area. For example, natural breaks, ako nang bahala, ako ay kang magmapa dyan ng area ng mountainous. So, hindi siya magiging reliable. Di ba? Oops. And magiging iba yung representation mo ng landslide prone. Kasi, kung hindi naman talaga steep doon sa location na yun at in-adjust mo lang based on your considerations, based on your own likings, hindi na magiging ayos yung representation mo ng data. Second one is clarity and interpretation. The choice of classification method affects map readability and interpretation, with some methods providing clearer distinctions between data classes. Third one is accuracy. When we say accuracy naman, selecting an appropriate classification method ensures that thematic maps accurately reflect the underlying data distribution and characteristics. And comparison. Consistent classification methods enable meaningful comparisons between different thematic maps or across regions, facilitating spatial analysis and understanding. And the last one is the classification method, is the communication. This classification method chosen can impact the communication of results and findings derived from thematic mapping, influencing decision making processes and stakeholder perceptions. So those are the importance of selecting appropriate classification methods. No? Una-una, data representation. Second one is clarity and interpretation. Third one is accuracy. The fourth one is comparison. And the last one is communication.